Hello everyone, welcome to episode 4 of B-Side Me, a music podcast. A new podcast that takes the format of Directors Club, only with a spin of the turntable. Instead of 2 films from a director, we choose 2 songs from a band or a musician to highlight and discuss each month. I'm your co-host, Jim, and beside me, B-Side Me, is my co-host, Sharon. Hi, Sharon.
Hello, I'm excited to be back on B-Side Me.
Oh, thank you for being here again. I'm glad we could do this together as a team. You know, I'm feeling very relaxed and chill, maybe a little sleepy, but I almost feel like it's appropriate for the band that we're going to be discussing today because they're relaxing and I don't know. I wouldn't say they're sleepy, but they do put you in like a meditative, calm mood. And we are talking about Beach House.
Yeah, definitely dreamlike.
Dream pop, you might
dream
say.
Pop, yeah. It's a good adjective.
I do like that description for them. I often wonder, though, like, the whole shoegaze genre. Do you think that would be apropos for this particular band? Because, I mean, they're kind of, they don't exhibit a lot of emotion on stage from what I can tell, but they're not like slow dive either. Like they're not so slow and, you know, just like because the word shoegaze came from the term where these bands would literally just stare at the ground at their shoes.
Yeah.
No one else will handle it. So what?
I don't think they are so much. Actually, I don't consider them to be shoegaze. I think I read a couple things that describe them, and I think they are fans of like My Bloody Valentine, but I think one of the biggest differences, I actually do find their music to be really emotional. So you kind of hit upon one of the differences. I think that Victoria Legrand's voice is sometimes very emotive to me. And I also feel like with shoegaze, it's more about the noise. Like it's kind of buried in these layers of noise. And I feel like Beach House, you can hear the lyrics more clearly. And sometimes it's a little more stark and it's just kind of like punctuated with these sounds or noises. But I feel like it's not as much about building the layers and layers of noise. And a lot of times in like Slow Dive, for example, or other shoegaze, the vocals are really buried under all these layers.
Yeah.
I think dream pop is probably a better descriptor of their early stuff. And then I think they kind of started edging more into like psychedelia, psychedelic music, which I'll probably talk about later.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But I was thinking like, if you were to do a trifecta, maybe Slow Dive was first, then Beach House was second, and then Cigarettes After Sex was third. Like it's almost like a progression of, but it's almost to me like a copy of a copy of a copy, because once you get to Cigarettes After Sex, it's just like they're deliberately almost ripping off, to me anyway, Beach House and Slow Dive. Like they're derivative, but I still kind of like their music anyway.
Nothing's gonna take you from me.
Beach House today, and I'm excited. It's nice bridge too, you know, from your last pick, Belle and Sebastian, since they're very indie pop. They're more upbeat. They have more of a rhythm section and kind of a diverse sound throughout all their discography, I would say. Beach House is a little more consistent.
They are, in a way, like I said, I feel like they moved, something like Teen Dream that's very kind of like dream pop, I think. It's very, and the songs themselves are more kind of like catchy, still verse, chorus, verse in a way songs, and even on Bloom is like that. I think, and like it's I think their most recent Once Twice Melody, I would describe some of the songs as more like psychedelic in the traditional vein of, they're just like, they almost sound like there's a mantra or something in the song, and the noise is kind of like washing over you, and it's more like, it's less like a structured pop song and more kind of like a vibe or an emotion that it's, or experience that it's expressing. So yeah, I think they've kind of made an evolution in that way. And like, it's funny, I feel like some of their songs, it's kind of, they sound kind of old fashioned. Like they're almost kind of tapping into that like Julie Cruz thing where it's like 50s.
Why were they not
songs meet
on Twin Peaks?
Yeah, like some of the songs really sound like it could have been
on
Twin Peaks. It's this whole kind of like doo-wop thing, but done through, like synth pop. And sometimes they even have that kind of imagery, I feel like, of like old, like cars and beaches, and you can see some of like some of their imagery is very like, I feel like a little retro, and then they use a lot of vintage keyboards and stuff. So
they do sound like they're from a different era, but yet they fit the times. And maybe it's because they tapped into something, especially early on. And you know what's wild about my A side that we'll get to? Became a big hit on TikTok.
Oh, really?
Because I discovered, like, even through Apple Music, this is the number one song, the most listened to song, and I would have never have guessed that Space Song is their number one song. I like, in terms of streams. And I found out, it's because of like a different generation for some reason, like reused it and implemented it into like all these TikTok videos.
Oh, really? It's also been used in TV and movies a few times.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that gave it a boost. I think it was on the TV show Atlanta, and I'm trying to remember where else. Like it was in a couple big, TV and movies. So I'm sure that helped. That helped as well. Yeah,
I know. They're also, they got a universal appeal for the most part. Like, I don't know. They probably could fill the United Center with, I don't know. Could you think that they could become an arena band? Or, I don't know. Because I think they're beyond a place like the Metro, certainly, and the Riviera.
I mean, I think they were the headliner at Pitchfork.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a big deal. Yeah, I don't know what else they've done. But yeah, they're pretty big at this point.
Yeah, I know. It'll be interesting down the road once we decide to like do something really obscure that people don't know. Because I plan to do that. I plan to be like, nobody knows this band, so let's let people discover them too. Because for the most part, as we're starting out, I imagine either us or our future guests will choose bands that people know. But this is an interesting duo because they're kind of hypnotizing, and I find them very soothing, but also very sad at times. When I think of their music, I often think of one of my favorite Nirvana lyrics. I miss the comfort in being sad, because there's like a comforting quality to their music, but it's also very, take a drink, folks, melancholy. I feel like, there's a longing and a yearning, but there's also like an acceptance that comes with it. Like, I'm kind of alone or sad, but it's okay. Like, I don't know. It's almost, they found like some weird balance again that we've talked about before with other bands that you don't necessarily, like, they're not like Nine Inch Nails with angst and anger, or they're not The Cure with, pure blown sad. Oh, they varied their sound, obviously, and they did have happy songs, but I just think like Beach House is, I think I sent you that Reddit quote where it was just like, it's haunting and comforting or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like that description. It's very simple. Again, we love adjectives, but still, that was just perfect summation. It's like a dreamscape. And I don't know why have they done a full-blown music score for a movie yet? Because they should.
Yeah,
I think they would do great.
I don't think so, but yeah, I could totally see. I mean, it would work well in like a David Lynch movie,
or Jane
something.
Schoenbrand's next movie would be perfect.
Because it has again that kind of like sad, dreamlike, and also kind of like retro sound. Now that you said that, I do have to mention there's a quote that I wrote down that I loved. And it's that Beach House's music sounds like a lullaby played on a music box the size of a high school gym. I love that so much.
Please be mine, my darling dear. Love you all the time.
It's from this article, Mike Powell, Life's a Beach House, where he uses a lot of metaphors. It's very metaphor heavy, but I loved that one because, it has this innocence. And high school gym, again, I think of there's something kind of like adolescent and old-fashioned about it to me. Maybe it's just these kind of big emotions.
I also thought of Air, because one of my favorite songs is still that. I mean, one of my favorite soundtracks and scores is that Virgin Suicides.
On the playground
But again, they were a band that sort of built on repetition, but yet it was never monotonous or boring. Like some people will say things like Sigur Rós is boring and slow, but I never felt that way. I don't feel that way about Beach House. It's it's just, kind of. We'll have a lot to talk about, obviously, with our songs, but it's not like provoking the same kind of intellectual dissection for me. Like it's mostly, I don't want to say simplistic because it's not. It's layered and it's thoughtful and there's really good chord structures. But like lyrically, most of the time I went, that's a good lyric, but never something like that made me think deep thoughts. And you might feel differently. You might have because it sounds like you have a very strong emotional response to this band. And certainly Bloom is one of your favorite records ever.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that. It's really interesting. I do find this band very emotional when I listen to their songs. I do. I definitely feel something. And I don't think their lyrics are very good usually.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
A lot of times I kind of like mishear them even. And
that's okay.
Sometimes I feel like, it's Victoria Legrand. Her voice is, I've heard described as androgynous, and it's very, like, I feel like sometimes it is a little hard to understand, but this band kind of like breaks a lot of rules for me because I usually am a lyric person. I love the lyrics. I love trying to figure out what they mean and everything. And sometimes these songs would really affect me without me being able to hear or even know the lyrics. And that's unusual for me.
I think that's great. I love it when people are just moved by music, as a whole.
As a whole. And this is a really interesting band in a way to choose for this podcast because they're almost like defiant about explaining what any of their songs mean. Like willfully defiant, like they don't want to. They don't want to explain them.
Yeah, they weren't very revealing.
You don't want to kill the joys. It's all about other people at this point. It's not, like I say, I've said this before, it's just making music. It is a very personal process, but because it's you and someone else and you're inside of this world and you're making it, but it's ultimately has nothing to do with you. It's completely to be shot out for other people to either benefit them or make them feel better or be the soundtrack to like some devastating moment. I still work, dude. Do you? Yeah. I actually enjoy my restaurant job every once in a while because it distracts me and it keeps me feeling grounded. I don't think I could just not have a job at all, because I think I would probably just disappear into some sort of mental vortex.
I think they very much want their listeners to just listen and decide what they mean for themselves. It just kind of works, even though a lot of times I don't. If I would to read the lyrics on a page, I'm like, these aren't very.
It's not
good.
Fiona Apple.
Or I don't want to say they're not very good. They're kind of simple.
And that's not a bad thing either.
and-
I think that's, again, like, I mean, I harp on this a lot, both with movies and music, where if one element isn't as strong, it doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah.
I know
yeah.
people really want the whole thing, I don't know, to work sometimes on every level, especially with movies, I think. But I like it that every once in a while there can be an imperfection or something. I don't even want to say it's bad because their lyrics aren't bad. It's just not as
they're not. I guess what I was trying to say, I don't I think they work very well in the songs.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
I
they
would
definitely do.
change hardly any of them. I love these songs so much. I guess this is a better way to say it. If I just read the lyrics on a page, you know how some musicians like Bob Dylan, they say their lyrics is like poetry. You can study them like poetry. I think for them, that's not really the case. You have to have it with the song. They go to they work together, they fit together, and the lyrics fit the songs very well. And I mean, you couldn't have a whole lot of dense, literate lyrics for the kind of music that they do. And I think, it's just kind of about the whole package or the whole experience. I mean, they help me understand a couple other things too. Like we've talked about this, I've never been into really guitar solos or like fancy,
You're in trouble.
embellished instrumentals, but they do some of that. Like we watched a video where they kind of like jamming, and they do these big kind of musical flourishes sometimes, or repeated keyboards, arpeggios and things, and I love it. I don't know why it's different
still
with them, but
it's still very rhythmic.
it still sounds so emotional. To me, it's like what you were saying.
It's like a heartbeat sometimes.
It's part of the expression of the song. I never feel like it's overkill. I feel like, okay, we're going to repeat this wash of sound again and again. It just sounds like it's kind of just continuing the narrative of the song. And that's something that they say too. They'll never describe what their songs are actually about for the most part, but I've heard them say that their songs are like stories. They do see them as stories
Or lullabies.
that they're telling. Yeah. So
I mean, I think
interesting.
these are songs you could play for children.
Yeah, well,
To put them, I don't want to say to put them to sleep, but you know, and sometimes like even just the sounds, they do sound like Casio keyboards or keyboards I had as a kid. And it's not to say like that's, I mean, it's interesting when bands do that. Like even Casio Tone for the Painfully Alone. When I saw him live, he was using like a Casio SK1 that I had as a kid. And I'm just like, that's a choice. I mean, like almost like, I don't want to say lo-fi, but it's like a kind of a like instead of getting a fancy keyboard like that, like a Yamaha, they opt for something retro. Or
Chap lips, tongue kissed, insert expletive.
because it fits their sound or what they're going for, and that's definitely true. And it's also interesting that Victoria is the niece of a French composer who did the score for the Umbrellas of Cherbourg. So,
oh wow, I didn't know. I knew that. I didn't know about the Umbrellas of Cherbourg connection.
music runs in the family.
Yeah, but I will say I've read some about their keyboards. I guess when it's Victoria Legrand and Alex Scally, when they met, they're the two members. They say that
In Baltimore, of all places.
Oh, in Baltimore. I love how too.
You love The Wire, so it makes sense why you love this band.
I love Baltimore. John Waters, The Wire, Homicide. No. But I love that they just have this really boring origin story. It was just like, all I've read about it is that they just met. I think they were in their early 20s, and then he showed her his collection of like organs, vintage keyboards. I know that sounds kind of dirty, but but they've never had a romantic involvement, according to them. This
isn't a White Stripes situation.
They just clicked with something. They were meant to make music, you know.
They seem boring,
and
I don't mean that as
boring.
I don't mean that necessarily as being bad. Like, some people are not like overly charismatic. They're just good at their art.
They buy a lot of keyboards at thrift stores, you know, and some of them are like literally old toy keyboards and stuff, you know. Because
I always love that.
I think he said something like, yeah, we don't have to worry about like most of our gear getting stolen. It's like not worth anything.
I mean, if I would steal it if I knew it was theirs.
Buy like broken keyboards from thrift shops, and
yeah, there's a charm to that. I mean, we watched a very nerdy video of Jeff Tweedy talking about his guitars, and a lot of those came from thrift stores. And
yeah,
it's kind of amazing that they still exist, but they're not what they used to be, and that's also sad. But I know that their breakthrough was pretty early on. It's like, can you imagine this 20 years ago?
Yeah, I cannot.
Apple Orchard was featured on a Pitchfork MP3 mixtape that they used to put together, and everybody was like, who is this band? And so their self-titled debut came out in 2006. It's crazy.
Yeah.
20 years of making music. And they made that first record for only $1,000 in like a regular studio.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you've listened to it, but it very much has that lo-fi, like it has tape hits.
It is
and
good.
everything.
It's
I think
good.
It might have been like
they hadn't found
track or something.
I don't think they found their voice yet.
Yeah.
But it's this warm, atmospheric sound, and I don't know. It's like I really got into like Mazzy Star, and I really love Hope Sandoval's voice, and I don't think they're comparable, but at the same time, I do see, like you were talking about, an androgynous sound to where you're like, oh, is that a woman singing?
Oh, I love her
voice. Yeah, I do too.
This is something she was meant to
I don't hear the Nico comparisons that I kept reading,
though. Oh, really? Huh.
I didn't really, because I don't know, Nico to me is just a whole other world of the way she approaches singing. Like, I just don't hear anybody else ever sounding like Nico. I mean, maybe they exist, but I don't know. I guess, again, the androgyny element, I don't know. That's probably what maybe they're harping on a little bit, but
I mean, there's something very like otherworldly or like ethereal. I think ethereal is a really good word. Haunting to her voice.
Change your mind. Don't care about me. Frightened eyes looking back at me. Change your mind. Don't leave without me. Frightened eyes.
there isn't a lot of effects on her voice.
No, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. We watched a few videos, and one, like, I always thought maybe there was some kind of effect. Like, I don't want to say, like, it's not vocoder, but something that made it sound more echoey, or I don't know, big or no. But
no,
she just opened
the guitars
her mouth and that
are the
song
ones
came
with
out.
the effects. The guitars have a lot of reverb.
Yeah, right. The effects are in the music. Yeah, but that's just her natural voice. It's very, ethereal and.
Let's talk about your A side, because I'm really excited. I mean, this is a great band that I think, again, the more I listen to, the more I do feel connected to just the music the most. Like, again, with Fiona, we had a lot to say about lyrics, and this may not be the case, although there are moments, obviously, where I go, oh, that fits. That's a great line, or there's something that I respond to. Like in that song Wishes, I really like, the The roses on the lawn don't know which side you're on.
I do like
in a daze,
that.
it will change. Yeah, that's really pretty.
The roses on the lawn don't know which side you're on.
I think a lot of their lyrics, they sound kind of like cryptic and mystical. And especially like that one does. And I think I did read somewhere online, I forget now, that song could be tied into like a tarot mysticism thing. And like, I think that's why they just work really in the songs. Even if you just read that somewhere, it would kind of sound like, oh, it's just like some kind of nonsense or something. But
thankfully not. I mean, you talk about your song here. I mean, it's Bloom is a special record. It really is. It's a hard. I mean, I thought for sure Myth because of. I mean, it's like one of the most perfect opening songs I've ever heard. But maybe you were like, that's kind of predictable, right? Go with this one instead for your A side.
Yes, if you want me to talk about my A side, Myth is a perfect song, and I think it's just too obvious.
I think Bloom is as close to a perfect record as I've heard.
Bloom is like,
I used to be all about Teen Dream. I think Teen Dream was always my favorite until now. Like recently listening, I was like, oh, I think Sharon's right. Bloom is their masterpiece.
I think Bloom is a masterpiece, and I don't use that word lightly. It's my
no, don't use it towards Faster Pussycat 10. Kill, or she'll ask you about it for an hour.
It might be in my top 10 records of all time. I will just say I have the best story ever about Myth, so I'll just try to tell it really quickly because I did pick something else. But that song was like all over the radio the summer I was getting my divorce. And I just started like dating this guy. Or not yet. But I thought maybe we were going to. And we did. And that song was always on. And it felt like a sign. And I thought that the song was about what was happening to me, you know. Like you built yourself a myth. You can't keep hanging on to what is dead and gone, you know.
Whoa, it's speaking to you. It's speaking to you.
Yeah, and I think it is about a breakup. But it really felt like it was speaking to me and materialize, let what's coming materialize and let the ashes fly. It felt so like specific to my situation. It was weird. And I remember this guy, he drove me home one night after we went to the Green Mill in Chicago. And there was like this poetry night. He read this poem and it was so romantic. Aww. And like, yeah, when he got out of the car, he said something about how he was falling for me, and that song started playing like when I got back in the car.
Damn.
I was like, wow. It felt like it was. It did. That song felt like a sign. I know some people got sick of it because it was really overplayed, but I loved it for all those reasons. It's just a beautiful song anyway. But anyway, I chose, it is kind of obvious. So from Bloom, the one I chose was On the Sea. Daughter of unconscious faith, time will tell in spite of me, heart of sight, no peace of mind. Song on the record. I will say the one flaw I think with that record is they have a hidden song, Irene, that I don't think it's that great. And you have to wait for a while for it to play.
I do like a good hidden song, which we can get to eventually with other bands, but yeah.
If it would have ended with On the Sea, perfect. But I just love everything about this song. How can I even begin? I did have a really good line here that ties into Myth. I think they're perfect bookends for this record because I think On the Sea is maybe a much bigger theme. It is a bigger theme, But I think that Myth is about letting go of something so that you can live your life and move forward in your life. And I think On the Sea is about letting go of something so that you can accept death. So I think that's why they're just the perfect bookends, because I see this song, I'm pretty sure it's about death. One of the opening lines is our bodies stopped and the spirits leaving. But I think it's just this beautiful sort of metaphysical exploration of how we confront death.
Our body stopped, the spirit living. Wouldn't you like to know how far you've got left to go?
Wouldn't you like to know how far you've got left to go? And in the end, there's just this kind of, it starts out kind of sparse and it builds like a lot of their songs do. And at one point, it just kind of has these waves of like sound that sound like waves going out in the distance, like these kind of like falling crescendos of like
It's rising and falling.
rising and falling, which sounds just like a sea.
Yeah.
And I just, I can't even describe it. I think this song is so beautiful. It just kind of builds into this crescendo where there's just, like these crashing waves of psychedelic sound. And I think this song really does kind of like bridge what they were doing and what they were going to become, because it has... I wouldn't say it's not really like a traditional song. It still has a really melody that could get stuck in your head, a haunting melody, but has very abstract lyrics, and then it addresses this really big spiritual theme. And I would say it's almost like you can see at that point what they're going to do. Like they're kind of jumping off from this dream pop to this bigger, more kind of universal psychedelic sound. So but mainly I just think it's a beautiful song. I hear it in my head a lot.
I don't know if 33 1/3 opens up their submissions, which they do every year. Well, I would put in for Bloom. You should write about Bloom.
Oh, I could. Yeah, I have stories, right?
Yeah. Well, I certainly love it. I mean, I love the whole album, but this is a perfect song too. You know, it's funny because like I even thought like sometimes his guitar playing sounds a little bit like Sigur Rós, but it also sounds a little surfy, and that gives you the whole like 60s vibe to like the retro vibe we were talking about. But there is lots of arpeggio,
right?
Yeah,
I saw that word.
Arpeggiation a lot, because he's not just playing standard chords. There's a lot of like
there's
trickling.
I don't even know how to describe it. It does. It just sounds like waves, like these.
I should have brought my guitar out and like given an example. I think if this song would have been called On the Lake, it probably would have hit me even more emotionally, but as it does, as it stands, I still feel really strongly about this song because of what you're talking about, because of course my dad's ashes are in the lake. And I often think about, you know, how the sea in the song maybe becomes this conduit between body and spirit.
Yeah.
You know, and like how vast and unknowable waters, however far they can go, right? And it's like the song promises like almost like a resolution, but also a hesitation and uncertainty about what's to come. But you're, again, like I said earlier, there's an acceptance too with that, and I feel like we're floating on the water when we're listening to this song, and it puts me in a headspace that's also very heavy when I think about it. But then I go, oh, it's so beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to think about, like just letting yourself go, because it is like you talked about. It's a song about moving on and letting go. and accepting death as a possibility of what's to come, because it's going to come for all of us eventually anyway. I still love it. I think, like the this is also like a really good starting point for people, because all the things that we love about the band here, the guitar sound, the old school keyboards, and running it through this Boss digital reverb pedal that I love. And yeah, I have a feeling they were big fans of the Roland Jazz Chorus amp. And they have the recapitulation. He described it as like a recapitulating chord progression, which is like a cycle. And it's really kind of beautiful to think of a guitar being that, or like a sound being that way too.
It does sound, it's almost like a surfy kind of bright sound. And
it's like if The Cure did surf rock. No, I'm kidding. Surf.
I think you described it so perfectly. I think it's about accepting death, and it's like a calming. It's a very calming song in a way. I think like it's kind of like we can't, like out on the sea we'll be forgiven, and it's you get the sense, it's like a cycle. Like we came from this collective unconscious, and we're all going to go like back into it.
You're the daughter of unconscious fate.
Daughter of unconscious fate. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of.
It definitely, I would say, out of all the songs we've chose, it's the most profound.
It's very,
it's like I could see philosophy majors going, this is pretty deep. It's very existential in that way.
Yeah, even though the lyrics, I don't know. I wouldn't
they're
say
straightforward.
They wouldn't stand out if you tried to publish them as poetry or something.
Yeah.
But in the song, they're so beautiful. Yeah, Daughter of Unconscious Fate. And I feel like what they're kind of saying is when you do, and this is what I've always thought personally, when you die, is that you just kind of let go of your individual self and just kind of go out on this sea or collective, and they say then there's no line where you begin and I'm defined or something, and it just kind of swallows you in. And
well, I wouldn't be surprised if we become some form of energy, but obviously not with a conscious mind. I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing to think about, because I don't know what happens. And I think that's why there's a lot of fear about what happens. But I'm also the type of person that's kind of like, I'm not saying I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also accepting of when the end comes. Like, I don't want it to come next year. I don't want it to come 2 years, but I'm the type of person that would just be like, if it had to happen, I wouldn't be like, oh God, I didn't live my life. I'm too young. I'd be like, all right. And I think that's the song is like, all right, it's death. Swim in it. Get in the water, people.
I think it's just this beautiful kind. I hope this song, it does actually play in my head sometimes, which is weird because it's not one of those songs you can latch on to like a chorus. It's
a better choice than Here's Johnny.
I did, and I hope it's playing when I die. It'll give me some peace of mind. And I think it's so beautiful with that record, how they begin with the kind of opening of Myth is this repetitive kind of keyboard sound, and then that sounds like waves coming in, and the last song, to me, it sounds like waves fading out, and it gives. So I do see those songs as related in a way.
Yeah.
And Myth is very much about human expectation, I think.
Have you thought of Bloom as a concept record?
Yeah, I haven't really. Definitely those two songs I see as together. And I feel like the last one is about letting go of what's human, your ego, and your individuality. And just,
You do sound like a professor. It's pretty cool.
That's my take. I don't want to talk forever, but I love that song.
I do
it's
too.
So beautiful. I think Bloom is a beautiful, very accessible record for people who haven't listened to them.
Yeah,
it has beautiful melodies and dreamy. Yeah,
and it was hard because like part of me was really, struggling for my A side, and then I was like, there's something about the album Depression Cherry. There really is. Like, I mean, is it my third? It might be my third favorite. Honestly, I don't know. It's hard to like rank everything because a lot of it does kind of blend together. But man, there is something about Space Song. it's not something like because we're not up on TikTok and what the kids are into, that it became so recognizable and embraced to some degree, and it's amassed hundreds of millions of streams and all this stuff. It's kind of crazy to think about because it doesn't follow your conventional verse, chorus, verse, and like we talked about, it's a weird thing to think of a song as building, and yet it does, without the catharsis that you come to expect, like a grand, like, oh my God, and suddenly everything explodes or everything comes together in a way that you think of with a lot of songs that is gradually building to something.
Yeah.
It's almost like it is, again, just gradual in how it does it. But I just love the way layers accumulate throughout their songs, especially this one, because you have that very steady drum patter. Like it is almost like, for the most part, I often wonder, do they ever use real drums? Because a lot of it does sound like a drum machine. And I know it's just them two together making music, so I don't know. They definitely have a drummer live, obviously.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I wonder how much
They
of
do-
their rhythm section is primarily done through keyboards.
Yeah, I actually read somewhere that they didn't like taking drums around when they were playing, like real drums hauling around. They do a lot with drum machine. Although, I have seen them play with drums live.
But I love the steadiness of it.
Yeah.
I love a good... I mean, we'll talk about your B-side and where I thought maybe it didn't need the drums. But anyway, like this has that shimmering organ. You talked about loving that sound.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is such a beautiful song, and I think you described it really well, like the layers of noise. What I love about them, though, is they... and I think this does, I know this does have a drum machine beat, and it has that kind of melancholy, like slide guitar sound.
Yes. Yes.
And I feel like this makes them a little different from some of the shoegazy bands and things. They don't really like build in the way that you expect.
There's never a release of tension.
Yeah, and they're really good at just kind of like punctuating
Or
at
sneaking
certain
in another
moments,
layer.
or sneaking in the song
Yeah.
a sound. Like in that particular song, I feel like it's like a keyboard, so it's like they're just really good at kind of timing a dramatic musical flourish, maybe where you wouldn't expect it, instead of doing the more traditional noise release, I guess you would say, or at a time where there's a spectacular chorus or something.
I know.
You expect this big wave of sound. They'll just do it to punctuate somewhere along the way.
They refuse to resolve in a way. And it's kind of refreshing because it sets a mood and it sort of sits in it. And it lets you, like, process it in a way that's almost, like I talked about earlier, very meditative. And again, the lyrics are very impressionistic. They're never straightforward in the sense of, like, here's a story about a guy doing this thing, and here's, it is a feeling-based approach to lyrics, and making them impressionistic and not always entirely about something specific actually adds to, like, just what they do so well. Like, just, it was late at night, you held on tight, from an empty seat, a flash of light. What is that flash of light? I don't know, but it's wonderful. Like, it's just just the imagery of that complements the music, which we've been talking about too. But it's also like a song that sort of dissolves in slow motion in a way, and it's so warm. Like, that's the majority of their songs. They're luminous and they're warm, and yet the way, like, her voice is kind of not always in the forefront, like you talked about. is still intimate somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do that, where it's like, it feels like she is singing to you.
Yeah.
But it's still not in the same
yeah.
way like a lot of pop records are, where the vocals are so in your face, you know every word they're singing. But
Yeah, I feel like it's funny because you could describe her voice as almost like robotic sounding sometimes, but I find it to be very emotive. Like, I don't know, there's something about the way she sings that I think is just so, there's a longing to it.
and also
yeah.
like, I think the strength of this band too is the fact that they're really melody based too. Like
Yeah.
their
Yes.
their melodies get stuck in my head, even if like, oh, it's not your traditional song. Where that's why I think indie pop or dream pop is appropriate, because pop usually you think of a hook, you think of a melody, or you think of something that sticks with you, or that you can just like think of at a random moment in your life or time. And some of these melodies are so stuck in my head. And even just the one I was about to pick for this too was Used to Be. And I think that chorus, used to be.
Used to
is really just transcendently beautiful and uplifting. And I feel that way about most of their songs, even when they sound sad.
That's an excellent lead into something I wanted to say about the song.
Please.
I'm curious what you think it's about, because they do seem like the band that they're open to different interpretations of their songs. But one thing I love so much about this song, and I do also feel like this song could be like, it sounds like it could be a throwback oldie or something if you took out the electronics.
I think so.
It seems like it could be like a 50s, whatever, like ballad. But I think it sounds, how do I put this? It sounds almost like it could be a song about falling in love. And I think it's actually a song about a breakup. And I guess a lot of people do.
I thought so.
But it sounds like it could be either one, you know? And I love that.
Yeah. Ambiguity again.
I think they have really a really interesting approach to writing love songs or songs about romantic relationships, which is it's a very mature kind of like big picture.
Yeah, that's what I like
approach.
about them.
Like almost all of them, it's like, it's not just about the breakup, or it's not just about falling in love. It's like about the whole thing, you know? And I feel like that's kind of what this song is about.
Well, I mean, I certainly thought about a collapsed relationship, more or less. Tender is the night for a broken heart who will dry your eyes when it falls apart. And that makes me think of the Car song, Who's Gonna Drive You Home? You know, like, now that no one's there for you, who's gonna drive you home tonight? You know, it's like it's a sad song, but then again, it's like, what is the refrain towards the end? Fall back into place,
Fall
right?
back into place, yeah.
So again, like, sort of acceptance and hope that things will get better, and that you won't just succumb to complete and utter despair. Like, you will find your place again and fall back into it and find your rhythm in life. And maybe you'll do that alone, and maybe you won't. Maybe you will find somebody else. Maybe, just maybe, you will, date, a few cool dudes in your life, right? And then you date maybe, a really nerdy musician or two, and then maybe the third one is the one. You just never know. And all I ever needed was the one. I think we're in a better place together. And I think the Beach House captures that sound in a really melancholy way, but also in a very uplifting way. And this song really does that for me. I don't know. And I'm not choosing it because it's the one song that apparently everybody loves and knows, that I had no idea about that until I did research on it.
Probably up there with Myth. That's one of the more popular.
Yeah, who knew? Who knew? I felt really strongly about Depression Cherry.
It's a really good record, I think. Yeah. I think it's really good. I don't think it like breaks any new ground.
No,
really,
but
it's just like really, really good songs. And I wanted to say a couple more things about the song before we move on, which is kind of going along with my earlier thing about how I feel like it's the whole picture of a relationship almost. I feel like the song sounds like it's both rising and falling at the same time.
That's true of pretty much all of their songs.
I know, well, that's true. Yeah. And I love that. It's kind of like this whole, like I feel like it's more about how it fits into the picture of your life. And
I thought it was more about relationships.
Emotions, yeah.
I definitely think your A side is about death.
Yeah.
And this one to me felt more about being brokenhearted. And then also my B side to some degree too. It's like, it makes me think of that Holly Hunter movie, Living Out Loud, where you sort of are okay with going for a walk by yourself and not. And again, you don't have to be married. You don't have to be like closed off towards other people or the possibility of relationships, but you can still enjoy your life as your own person on your own, which I think is a really nice sentiment, because a lot of people get hung up on like, well, if you're not with somebody, something's wrong with you.
I think they have a lot of songs that celebrate the joy of having been in love, which I feel like this song is kind of like that. Was she ever lost? Was she ever found? Like it's just kind of part of your journey. And I feel like there's something very, like you highlighted, like hopeful and positive about their so-called breakup songs.
Without it being schmaltzy.
Right, yeah.
Let's talk about ESP for your B-side, because what cuts you makes you bolder. Ooh, that's a good line. I really like that. I mean, again, I don't want to say a cliche, but like, like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Or the first cut is the deepest. And, but I still like that. I still like that. Just the overall, idea behind that kind of, thinking of, oh gosh, I got hurt, but I'm going to be okay. I'm resilient, and I think that's what this song does. Although, what song this reminded me of a little bit was that 10cc song, I'm Not in Love, which again is very dreamlike, very repetitive, very haunting, and hardly has any drums. And it's mostly just this ballad it's such a beautiful song. One of those songs that like instantly gets in my head, and I find it to be very moving. But it's interesting because like I don't think I wanted the drums in this song. I feel like they're just an afterthought. That's like out of anything we listened to, and I don't have a lot of critiques, there was just this feeling of those little crunchy drums in the background there. I would have just taken them, like if I was the producer, I would have just taken them out. I think it might even made this even a better, stronger song. But I love it. I love everything else about it. It's almost, but just to me, like I think you could just, that's the one little nitpick I had. Again, it's not even that noticeable to where most people probably won't care. Or they'll hear the song and be like, oh, actually, it's kind of nice. But I just felt like one song didn't need the drum machine, and this would have been even better. So tell me why you love it, ESP.
What cuts you makes you bold. Could you read my mind? What everybody knows. Not everybody shows.
I wanted to highlight something on Once Twice Melody, because I
is that a
just think
double
it's
or
amazing.
triple or
I
what?
think it's like it was actually released in 4 parts. I looked this up, 4 chapters. It's not that long. It's like an hour and a half long, but I guess they released it in 4 chapters of 4 songs each.
Oh.
And so I don't even know what you call that. It's like
I don't
double,
either.
triple.
Do you remember
like
when
streaming online?
Stephen King released The Green Mile in chapters or something? Do you remember
Right.
that? What do you call that?
I've heard that. I think episodic. Was it? I mean, Charles Dickens and other
okay.
writers used to do that in the newspaper and stuff.
That's
Not
cool.
to digress too much, but that's like
Oh, I like that.
serialized. Yeah.
Serialized. I think that's the right word.
And to kind of go along with what we were talking about with Space Song, I think it's really funny that they were going. The last chapter was initially released to coincide with Valentine's Day.
Oh, this is perfect. We did it.
Have you been given a lot of Valentines in your time, Chuck?
No, I've never received a single Valentine.
So I think I chose ESP because it actually illustrates everything about them that I don't usually like, that somehow still gets to me. First of all, I thought this was such a fantastic, whatever it is, collection of some
It's a record. You could say it's a record.
I listened to. At the time, it hit me really hard. I guess it was around 2022, and that was a tough time for a lot of people. And I was working out, and I was listening to this once, twice melody.
You worked
through
out listening to Beach
headphones.
House?
Yeah, I do sometimes, or I used to. And I feel like I can't really talk about it without sounding like like I'm a hippie on drugs or something. But
Well, maybe you are.
It just felt like this, like I was in a trance or something, like listening to it. That whole record, I think that's, I mean, they did still have a few that were kind of poppy, but I think they had some songs on it that were truly like felt psychedelic. Like they tapped into this medieval imagery and like old kind of fair world, like tying together one universe kind of stuff. It was just, and I realized that later as like, I think this is actually like a lot of it is more like psychedelic, like in the true essence of psychedelia. Like it's more about communicating an experience or feeling, and you're just supposed to sit there and let like wash over you and feel it.
Was this the record where they discovered mushrooms? Psilocybin?
I think they had been going in that direction, maybe a little bit. Like
I can see that.
But
that's cool.
Wondering
Nothing
to
wrong
move
with
on
that.
to the ESP in particular. Well, actually, I was trying to pick one that was kind of like that, but it's still, it has a melody that's very, I don't know if I want to say catchy. It's very pleasing to the ear. It still is. It does kind of wash over you, and it has a feeling right away. It has this nostalgic, kind of dreamy feeling to the song. And you know what's funny is I can't even really tell you what the song is about. I don't really know.
That's okay. That's okay.
Really
we don't need to know every time.
And that's not usually me. Like, I usually love to analyze or dissect songs or whatever. I mean, other than
You don't
a
have to
real
know.
simplistic ESP, it's about, can we ever know someone? Can we read their mind? Other than that, I really don't know.
If you could read my mind, what a tale my thoughts would tell.
I just think it's so beautiful. Yeah, and it opens with the lyrics, what everybody knows, not everybody shows. They use some like angelic choir-like noises on some of the songs here, and it sounds like little toy piano planks or something.
That's a sound I don't love all the time, but for some reason I love them. I love it in this. Like, again, like choir sounds I'm very picky about.
Yeah.
But it works here.
It's just like vibes, you know?
I think that we get too hung up on knowing Don't you think?
Right, what everybody knows.
We don't need to know.
Yeah, but it feels like there's something almost like I feel like a lot of songs on this record,
Mystical.
like mystical. How did you know I was gonna say that? Because I've said a lot mystical or magical.
Because you're a huge fan of the rapper Mystical.
Get back, Satan, man. Bother me.
The song kind of puts you in a trance, and I think it's supposed
Yeah.
to. A lot of the songs kind of like repeat. They're very repetitive. Like it's almost like a meditative trance.
We should get high and listen to Beach House.
And I think that song is, it's something, if you listen to it, you'll get kind of an idea of what it's like. And it still kind of ties into a lot of other stuff if you're a fan of them. That's kind of sounds like it's nostalgic and about complicated relationships between people.
And I think the song is a little bit about intimacy and being emotionally transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And do you really know somebody or not? You know, I mean, we'd like to think we do, but we don't really know. But it's like, again, like it's a towering song of reverb and synth, but her voice is really relaxed. And I still kind of feel, you know, a sense of, I want more, but I'm happy with this too. Sometimes I feel like there should be a climax, like we've talked about, because I'm so used to music doing that. Like once you're building and building and building. But this song's just, again, it's again the rising and falling feeling I get a lot, and that's true of my B-side as well. You know, it's just there is something about I do feel their sound is fairly consistent, even though they've had different iterations of that sound throughout their discography, right? You know, I mean, there's certain moments where this song got louder, or they chose a different synth sound here than they did before to make it distinctive and not so. Like, that's Beach House again. The most reliable sound in the world. No, they do. It's never boring. And for somebody who, you know, kind of likes slow music that puts you in a trance, this really does it beautifully. And that's true of Walk in the Park. But you know what I love about Walk in the Park? So much. It's the most simplest thing in the world. It's just the delivery of that melody when she gets higher. Da, 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 da.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one thing about this song that stands, like, I mean, she does that here and there throughout other songs, but there's just something about that one part. There's moments throughout music where I will love a song based on one thing, or one part, or one line, or one melody. And this is one of those songs. I do love the whole song, don't get me wrong. But there's just something about when she delivers that melody in the chorus, I guess you could say. It is a chorus, technically. But the world that you love to behold cannot hold you anymore. Oh. Here we go, folks. Another breakup song, but yet an acceptance of walking alone in the park.
See, it does kind of tie in with your earlier, because
I thought so.
I think that's.
And in a matter of time,
it
would slip from my mind. Or the goosebumps effect, we can call it, when I hear something that just like sticks out in the chorus and her melody, and in a matter of time, that is just beautiful.
It sounds just like her.
I know. Not a cartoon character or a Muppet. It sounds just like her. In a matter of time. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. And on a record that, like, again, you know, if I had to rank them, which I know people love, I'm a sucker for it. But, you know, for me, right now, at this point in time, Bloom is number 1, Teen Dream is number 2, and Depression Cherry is number 3. So I do love Teen Dream, and that was my initial introduction to the band. Especially, like I said, with Used to Be, was being like that, the way it builds on that piano.
Yeah.
Do, 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 do. That whole thing is great. And then again, there is a feeling of release. Used to be. Like, it does feel really relaxing and beautiful. And this song is very much that too. And, you might feel empty. I think it even says something like that on the genius.com analysis. Like, you might feel empty inside, but you're not without purpose. You can still live. You can still enjoy a walk in the park by yourself. And that's kind of what I love about this song, too, is that there's another feeling of resilience in the midst of something tragic or difficult, like overcoming something devastating or upsetting in your life, to where you're like, you know what? It'll be okay. That's what I feel like most Beach House songs leave me with. It's going to be okay. And we need that feeling more than ever in these tumultuous times. So you like this song too?
Oh, yeah. I love this song. I do think Teen Dream is also a great record. And it is kind of like their dream pop,
A teen dream pop.
Like, I feel like they do a lot of songs that are very emotional and about romantic relationships, and
yeah, they got signed to Sub Pop,
but
had a lot more push thanks to that label.
And I think you highlighted, the theme of the song. You nailed it pretty well. It's just like, that's how I feel too. It's like being independent, but it's going to take time. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
And I think I love it's a very emotional, the way she sings at chorus. I mean, that whole record is very emotional, I think, her voice, but like when she sings "In a Matter of Time, It Would Slip It From My Mind," it sounds almost like she's trying to convince herself,
Ooh, yeah, good point.
And it's a really, like, I feel like this record is about really kind of exaggerated youthful emotions a lot. And
well, maybe it's inappropriate because, like, when you're a teenager, all those emotions feel this way, feel big.
Yeah. And I think I even read something that Victoria said where she said it felt very like heightened emotions. So that's what they just went with. And it's funny, like, thinking about more. I mean, I think this is just like a really good synth pop song. The whole concept of "in a matter of time, it will slip from my mind." Looking at it from the point of view of like a teenager or adolescent, that's just such a hard concept to really grasp.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's
your
kind
first
of true,
major breakup as a teenager is like devastating. Like, you think you're gonna die, and it's similar to like that line also makes you think of Eternal Sunshine too, in a way. It's like,
yeah. So it's almost seems like it's like a prayer.
Remember to forget.
And I love that. It's so sad. It's so, I feel like that chorus is so sad. And I think you kind of hit upon something too. I feel like the way she sings it is kind of, it has so much power each time. And I don't know it's just like, it sounds a little different every time. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like stronger, or like trying to convince yourself, but it's so, it's something about it's so powerful when that kicks in, like in a matter of time.
There's the swell of feeling with that. The way
I
she
think
does
it's
that.
also probably like the sad synthesizers, but definitely her voice is very powerful.
A lot of their songs are about time
chorus,
and like impermanence, and sort of like like learning to live inside this inevitability of things changing.
Right.
It's okay to not be okay.
You just made me think that's like a big contrast too, of being able to accept big life changes and having these very youthful, like sky high, heightened, exaggerated emotions, like those two things are really hard to reconcile. So it's funny, and I do feel like that's what a lot of these songs are about.
And in a way, as we get older, I almost accept sadness better.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a part of having eyes and ears and a nose and hands and feet. It's almost like, well, I'm sad, but I'm not going to jump off a bridge. I'm just going to accept the sadness. And I think Beach House has got a sound and a mood that complements that feeling sometimes. And maybe that's why it worked for you during the lockdown, right? Because you revisited their music.
Yeah.
And maybe that was comforting for you.
Oh, yeah. I found them. Yeah. They're another one I listened to a lot when I was spent a lot of time at home doing whatever, and I think that's when certain music that it just really appealed to me because it seemed to have a very kind of like deep message or sound or whatever, and they were one of those. Yeah,
without being overt either. Like that's what I kind of like.
Yeah,
there's some bands that are just everything, exactly what they're singing about, and that's okay too. I like that. I don't mind directness. There's some movies too that like spell out the message of the movie directly to you and it bothers me. But then there's sometimes where I'm like, why do I don't mind when it's done in this movie because maybe they set it up that way early on. It's going to be this type of movie. So if somebody's preaching directly to the camera at one point or whatever, but if they establish that tone early on, I'm more forgiving of it as opposed to like a movie that doesn't establish that early on and then suddenly just throws that in to like spell it out to the audience. So, that to me feels like you're being talked down to. But Beach House, they find this really delicate balance again that I love about, just, yes, you can be sad, but yes, that's normal and that's okay. And there's comfort in that. Again, the comfort in sadness is a big thing for me. And this is a beautiful band too. It's also just like cool. Like it's a cool sound. Like I just listen to them like this is just I'm not saying like cool as in like a macho sound, like look at that guitar solo or that's cool. Look at Prince going off on the guitar. That's so cool. It's like a nice cup of coffee and drinking on the porch. But you're seeing like the weather, it's really gray and kind of rainy and you're like, ugh. But you're also okay with that because you got your cup of coffee and you're listening to Beach House.
Young when they started. I thought maybe they were older, but they were like in their early 20s because their songs sound so like wise and like they have so much lived experience because I do feel like they almost put things in this big kind of like life picture a lot.
Wise beyond their years,
yeah,
perhaps.
like a relationship. A lot of their songs about romantic relationships. But yeah, they're just not in the way, most people's are. They're very kind of like big picture view of them, and how they fit into your life.
They fit their like. It's interesting how they're not a sad band, and yet they're not cheery and optimistic either. It's almost like depending on what you're feeling at the time, it might work for you.
It's interesting. I guess they picked their name Beach House. This is an anecdote you just reminded me of. They said it's supposed to take you to another place. And then I thought it was funny that Alex Scally like specified, he said not like taking a vacation because you still think about and worry about things when you're on vacation. Like not a literal beach house. It's just another like complete other place where you're just like immersed in the songs.
I like music that can be patient
with
itself too. Takes its time. And yet, like, even if a song is 7 minutes long, which they don't normally do, it doesn't feel like it's over long either.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like most of the time they do, like, well, it's usually not overly long, but sometimes they do a kind of more extended waves of sound or sort of repeated rolling either chorus or progression. But I feel like it never seems gratuitous. So it seems like it's meant to be part of the song and is extending the expression or emotion of the song.
It's a hypnotic comfort.
Yeah, like even when there's a repetitive, it's like, yeah, exactly. I feel like the goal is more to, continue that hypnotic state and continue feeling these emotions. You're not done feeling these emotions yet. Feel them?
No! We are not done feeling all kinds of emotions, including the possibility of not anger, but skepticism. That's not really an emotion, right? But I don't know. I'm curious to see what you think of my next pick for the month of March. We skipped a month, and that's because January was very busy. That's why this is coming out in February, folks.
And I was sick.
There was a lot going on towards the end of January. But yes, for the month of March, are you ready, Sharon, to finally disagree with me on a band? Because it's been nothing but a love fest. Like every band we chose were pretty good. We're like, yay, we love this. This is so much fun. I thought to myself, there is a band that I would say the majority of people I know do not like, except for Dan Solomon, whose opinion I trust with most of my heart. Him and I basically became lifelong friends because of our love of certain bands and music in particular. We rarely agreed on movies, oddly enough. He hates Magnolia, I think. But growing up, we kind of bonded along with he'll come up eventually in this podcast in some capacity, but Art Mays, my former lead singer of my high school band Midian, we didn't always agree, but we really agreed on this band. All three of us were like simpatico. And I know the lead singer gets on a lot of people's nerves, and I understand that. But there's also a brand new HBO Max documentary that I can't wait to watch. And it also happens to be a band that I've covered that is still the most listened to cover song I've ever had on SoundCloud. I'm talking about Counting Crows.
Just get away from me. This isn't gonna be easy, but I don't need you. Believe me. Yeah, you got a piece of me, but it's just a little piece of me, and I don't need anyone to be.
We're gonna count some crows, Sharon. We're gonna dive into the mind of Adam Duritz and his dreads. We are not going to talk about Mr. Jones, because that is not a song I would ever want to talk about. It's probably their worst song. But I think they have an incredibly interesting discography. There are some bad songs. There are some songs that I don't like by this band. But there are songs that I absolutely fall head over heels in love with, including the one I've covered, which is Colorblind. I'm not going to choose that as one of my songs because it feels wrong. I don't know why. I mean, I'll talk about it, but it's just like, I don't know. There's something about the Counting Crows that I love.
How many records did they have?
6.
Oh,
maybe.
I didn't
6
even
or
know.
7.
Okay, now I feel kind of ignorant. I thought they only had a couple and like a couple big
Well,
songs. So, I mean,
they dipped. I would say, in terms of popularity and notoriety, or at least people paying attention to them.
Yeah.
There was like a turning point where people just shrugged them off entirely. And I think he's a great lyricist. I really do. And catchy songs sometimes. I mean, but complicated guy, complicated lead singer that is very full of himself. So if he gets on your nerves, I'm sure you'll find songs you like. I'm not saying this is going to be a chore for you. You're not going to listen to a Counting Crows record and go, "Oh, this is garbage." But I don't think you will feel as passionately about them as I do. That's just my guess, anyway. So what are your thoughts on Counting Crows before having dived into their albums?
No, of course that I'm interested to hear and hear more and hear what you like about them and everything.
Yeah, I mean,
of course it's your turn. I mean,
I
don't
also
think you're
don't-
alone. I've heard other people say that they think they're underrated and stuff. So
yeah, I don't I know I don't like to me like I don't know if people are going to be like as excited about a Counting Crows episode, but I don't know. I just think I might even have Dan contribute like a little clip too for the episode because there's just something about them that works magic on me. And I think a lot of it is lyrics. There's a lot of amazing lyrics by them, I think. But they're also weird in a way that I can't really necessarily put into words right now, but I'm sure I will. For the next episode in March, happy St. Patrick's Day. We'll talk about Counting Crows in March. Thank you, Sharon, for choosing Beach House. This was beautiful. Good choice, as always. You have great taste. I know that.
Oh, thank you. No, I love them so much. Even they've progressed. Their sound it has evolved, but I really revisiting it. They have so many beautiful songs. Yeah,
I agree. So everybody go to my website, jimlaskowski.net, for more episodes of this show and Directors Club. Sharon, you've been making the podcast rounds, so that's exciting. You were on Chloe's podcast. You were on Ryan McNeil's podcast to talk about what I'm assuming is probably your favorite movie of last year, Die My Love. I don't know if you saw anything else that kind of stood out to you, because I know you didn't see nearly as much as I did. But.
Yeah, no, I didn't see many movies from last year. I mean, it would definitely be in the top 5 of the maybe 5 movies I saw.
Yeah. I just think it was the one you responded to the strongest to talk about on a podcast, and also you're going to be on a future episode of Genre Grinder, also available on the Now Playing Network, hosted by the wonderful Gabe Powers. So, yeah, you've been a regular podcast superstar lately. That's so cool, and I will link to those episodes in the show notes. And then, everybody stay tuned. It's going to be an exciting excursion into the movie realm with Eric and Colin coming on in 20 days on February 28th. I took a PE day for all you Chicago Public Librarians to talk about the year 1996 with Colin and Eric, and we'll be talking for 7 hours in this room, and we're probably going to go insane. But it's a fun thing we do every year, so I'm looking forward to that. So stay tuned for that. And yes, thank you, Sharon. We'll talk again in March.
Thank you. This was fun.